Hey, time for a couple more bookshelves, number 10 and number 11 from the practice problems. This one, number 10, says that we're supposed to count the number of plans, number of ways to plan a bookcase, where we have uh, 3 books and we're going to have 7 shelves, but we're just trying to figure out how to plan them. So we're not putting the books on the shelves yet. We're just deciding how many books are going to go on each shelf. And it says that there has to be at least one on the top shelf. So there's my picture of my bookcase to begin with. You reserve a spot on the top shelf as step 1. But there's no more than one way of doing that. There's only one way to reserve a spot on the top shelf. So that just means that we have less to plan. So there's only 2 books to plan for on 7 shelves. So when we continue the plan, after we've got that one already reserved, you can put the other 2 anywhere you want. You could put one down here and one on the very bottom. It doesn't say that I can't put another one on the top shelf. So we could have another possible plan. It just says at least one on the top shelf. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's another 7 shelves. And it has to have one on the top shelf, but it could have 2 on the top shelf or even 3 on the top shelf. We just need a plan. But this is a very sparse bookcase. We only have 3 books. So, to figure out how many ways to do that, at first we just reserve that spot on the top shelf, then we plan for 2 books on 7 shelves. So we're back to one of the previous problems where we just need to figure out how many ways to put 2 books on 7 shelves. And that's the one where so this is the answer to the total problem of number 10. Take the number of spots that you need to figure out where they go to, and then the number of types, 7 shelves. Subtract 1 from that because we just need to put dividing lines, and so we only need 6 dividing lines. And then choose locations for those dividing lines. So 2 plus 7 minus 1, choose 7 minus 1. Doing those additions and subtractions, we get 8, choose 6. And now you can calculate that any way you like. You could actually just type it into your calculator or Google and it gives you the answer, 8, choose 6. Or you can use one of our many formulas, 8 factorial over 6 factorial times 2 factorial. A lot of stuff cancels in that and you realize that it just turns into 56 divided by 2. So the answer is 28. Now we can look immediately at number 11. It says that we want to put 3 books on 7 shelves in order and at least 1 on the top shelf. So with number 10 in mind, the answer to number 11 is found by first coming up with a plan where you reserve a spot on the top shelf and then placing the 3 books into the 3 locations. So for either of our example plans, now we can put on the 3 books. So say we take the second plan there, and that was put a spot there too. And now we have 3 books. They say they're distinct books, so book A, B, C, and we have 3 spots to put book A. So there will be 3 locations, then 2 spots to put book B. So if I put A here, then I can put B anywhere and then C anywhere. There's always going to be the number of books, factorial, ways to place them into those locations. So the answer is first pick a plan. So the plans are, I'll go ahead and write the whole thing. We already knew that was 28. First pick a plan, then place the 3 books. So once I pick the plan and I place the 3 books, it'll be 28 times 3 times 2 times 1. And that comes out to 28 times 6, or 168. All right, so make sure you notice that the word at least was in this problem, number 10 and number 11, at least 1 on the top shelf. That meant that you were allowed to have 2 on the top shelf or more. So that the strategy is to just reserve that at least 1 spot and then calculate from there. And now you've got 1 less spot to figure out. So that's where the 2 comes from. The 2 comes from the fact that it says at least 1, and you subtract 1 from it. And that's in contrast to previous problems where it said at most 1. When it says at most 1, you had to basically break it down into 2 cases where there was 0 books or 1 book. So go back and look at those for comparison if you like.